Okay, Beak.
I'm just glad we're still alive.
Yeah, me too. Now, let's get a look at the hull. Yeah, this does not look good.
Armikog is our new point-and-click stop-motion animated adventure game. My collaborators and I have worked on a game in the past called The Neverhood that was done in stop-motion, and we were looking for another project like that to work on.
The story of Armikog is basically our hero, Tommy Knott, and his sidekick, whose name is Beak. They crash land on this mysterious planet and end up in this fortress called Armikog. And a big portion of the game is, as the player, you're guiding Tommy Knott and Beak around to escape from the fortress, but there's a lot of really cool and magical things that happen along the way.
Well, the reason we chose stop-motion animation and clay and puppet animation is mostly because we love it. It's a really fun medium to work in, and it's also different than everything else you see out there, so it helps it stand out from the crowd a little bit. There's something magical about seeing these real objects that come to life and move around on screen that you just don't get with CG.
One of the big reasons why we ended up going in this art direction, in this style, was much of the game will be done by the same core team that created The Neverhood. And when we made that game, that was one of the most fun times that we had creating a game in terms of the overall experience, creativity, the process. So we were trying to come up with an idea that sort of went back to those glory days of development for us, and it just seemed like a perfect fit. It's kind of an interesting way of going about creating a game. We're taking essentially stop motion, which is a 100-year-old animation technique, and bringing it together with new technology. The process in and of itself is very time consuming and very labor intensive. We're animating all of the characters and all of the elements by hand. We're creating all of the elements by hand.
So you'll see all the beautiful lighting and also all the imperfections that you get with stop motion, where you can see the thumbprints and basically see the artist behind the craft. Doing stop motion animation, it's a lot of work. It's really pre-production heavy. You have to build everything in the physical world, and you're constrained by the laws of physics, but it's work that we love doing, and I think it's worth it. You put in that extra work and you get that extra juice from the visuals of that aesthetic that you don't get in other types of games and other mediums of animation.
Really the key to making this all work in stop motion animation is all of the puzzles are built, we build them out of cardboard and wood beforehand, so we're actually building them in 3D space, and we're working all of the elements out before we even go to the final clay versions. And then all of the animation is hand-drawn and pencil tested out before we go to the final on that as well. So before we start actual production, we'll have a complete working version of the game that's all made out of wooden cardboard and pencil test animation. So that really allows us the ability to plan for very specific things within the game. And once we have that done, and that's fun, then we know that the actual game itself will be fun. What we're doing is we're taking a lot of the basic mechanics of point-and-click adventure games, but we're layering on top of new ideas that forces the player to think a lot more spatially, and it will really, I think it's a really cool mechanic that will really surprise a lot of people in terms of its playability and entertainment value.
I don't think our pod insurance is gonna cover this. Our deductible is nuts too.
Nintendo contacted us after E3 to see if we were interested in developing Armikog on the Wii U in addition to the PC and Mac and Linux versions we're doing. And of course the answer was yes. And we had a lot of discussions with them, and they were really helpful, and they kind of pushed us through the process of becoming a developer, and they provided us with all the information we needed to make that choice. And it really seems like they're committed to supporting independent developers, which is great, and I know Sony is too, and I'm hoping that with the bigger companies getting behind the independents a little bit more, it'll help more artistically driven games get made.
Give me a hand! Give me a hand!
What we've got a Kickstarter campaign going on to raise funds for the game. You can go to armikog.com, and that will take you directly to the Kickstarter site. And hopefully we'll get this thing funded, and we'll get the game made.